when I started doing online media, when Nigeria was and still is the queen of online media, and she didn't used to post on weekends. But then I didn't used to post on Saturday and Sunday. They post their last post on Friday and go to bed. And so the rest of us, Mumu people that came into the space, we just followed her. We didn't really ask why. We just started posting only Mondays to Fridays. Then the Degeti came in and said, this doesn't make any sense. There is no law against posting on Saturdays and Sundays. And then I began to post on Saturdays and Sundays. I said, oh my God, it's true. We can post on Saturdays and Sundays. And then she forces even better in Nigeria now to post on Saturdays and Sundays. There are no rules. There are really no rules. I think the beauty is, see, I always tell younger people that, let me tell you why I'm a lawyer as well, sadly. Let me tell you why the history of copyright. Copyright wasn't created, the entire history of copyright wasn't based on some huge moral obligation or framework. It was simply a tool to preserve profits for people who got there first. So a man gets an innovation, he wants to ensure that he has the authority over this innovation for a period of time so that he can make enough money from it. I essentially encourage young people to break rules. I certainly, too many times, this is a time of great innovation, great experimentation, great opportunities, great possibilities across the world. One of the huge tragedies is to have young people who are trying to follow rules that don't make sense. You know, it's time to, I always say the world is no longer a factory. It's now a laboratory. Young people need to go and create new things, find out new possibilities, mix and match things together. You know, I like talking about the Instablog Nigeria. I like talking about what Goldmyne is doing on social media, what you're doing on YouTube, you know. You guys began to see the opportunities in YouTube long before anybody else saw YouTube. You know, go and look at your videos on YouTube, so many views. And that's because you didn't follow any particular format. You didn't say, because they've been doing it like this, that's always be like this. And that's the spirit that young people need. How can we create things of value that did not exist before? There have to be things in place to carefully, remove or at least hinder those who are willing to create. Because even though you say, the government, I still think, for example, a normal person like me can put up a blog and start inciting Islam like ISIS. That's how people are recruited. There has to be things in place to carefully police these people who can easily affect us. Similarly with brands, some people do have, with brands too, in creating information, some brands are not necessarily creating information that serve the good of people. And that's why you have regulations that check those brands. And these are government, regulations. So regardless of the fact that yes, some of the government officials are not really doing things for our benefit, there still are people who are fighting to make sure brands are doing the right things, people are doing the right things, and I guess you now have to say, okay, what is right? That's another argument for another day, but still, things have to be put in place to check people.
Yeah, I think on regulations, if out there someone throws a jab at me, there's no regulation against that. There's no regulation that controls insults and being rude. I feel that that's exactly what we did with Twitter and all. And so I don't see the point of we having to regulate it. I feel that events like this, it's just we need more of having people to see consciousness of the importance of every action, what they say, what they do. And from a social media point of view, every tweet, every Facebook post, we just need to understand that now you're speaking in the cloud, and then the influence, the reach of everything you put out there is higher than you can imagine. So I know that we've all experienced this before, where you put up a post and probably got 0 likes and 0 comments. And then the following week your friend sees you and says, guy, that thing when you talk makes sense. That is ordinary days look of, what? But you said nothing. So I've seen that a lot. So everything we say is more than, I'm speaking now, we can count the number of people who can hear. But it reaches higher. So we just need to encourage more people to understand this importance of it.
Give you a entrepreneur right now. So I'm on Instagram now, and I'm saying something very important like how to build your future and all that, and I get like 5 likes. But then I post a picture with me on bra and panties, and I get 1 million likes. So how do you think we can divert the new media into something, that makes more sense that the futile effort is being used for now?
I think we just have to be creative. Yeah, it's a problem. It's easier if you the other example you gave, you don't need any creativity. You would get the attention. So, but I think for us to put relevant information out there, we can then be creative with it. And I think the EFCC example makes a very wonderful case study in this case. You get? I mean, it was really serious stuff. Talking about probing someone, talking about money laundering. Who's interested? Like, we don't really want the facts that there's a case this morning. Who cares? But look at the way the handler did it. And so he had a balance of it. So I think that as a designer, I've seen adverts where you, from afar, what you see is what you want to see. And as you move closer, you see what they want you to see. Yeah, I can't give specific answers to that post example, but I think we just have to be creative with it to find a way to attract people to the serious things that we're saying.
All right, and once again, I'd like to say thank you very much to our panelist, Olubukola Fagola, who has said there needs to be police put in place to monitor what we are putting up so that we can hinder false stories from going out. Let us verify the facts that we put up. Also, thank you very much, Victor Fatimi, who says we need to be conscious of our posts because the reach is much higher than before. And Chude Jinowo, who says, before you break the rules, because he has encouraged us to break the rules, but before you break those rules, make sure you ask questions. Don't get yourselves in trouble. And he also said at the beginning of this that go with your instincts. This is very, very important. Please can we give them all a round of applause?
Okay, well, I just want to say that ignorance right now, especially with all the tools that are available, ignorance in this age and time is a choice. This is the time where we really need to be bold. This is the time where we need to push out the right content using the new media. This is the time where we need to position and be deliberate about what it is we're putting out there. This is the time where whatever it is that you're gifted with, be it a talent, be it a craft, this is the time where you need to leverage on all the free tools that are available on social media and make sure that you push out your content, push it out there, because it is what you push out there that people see, and in turn they will recommend you for whatever role, or they will patronize you, or they may even choose to work with you. So whatever it is that you're passionate about, leverage on the new media and push it out there.
Because of how fluid the internet is, and like was said in the previous session, anybody can post anything. That's the truth. You can post anything, whether it's confirmed or not. You can save yourself, like I do on my family chat group on WhatsApp, as received. This is because I'm the lawyer, and if you want to say, can you confirm? I can't confirm. I got it like that. I'm just letting you know that I came across this information. However, as a brand, you always have to be careful, because you can't afford to be putting out something that you haven't confirmed as a brand, because it reflects the brand. So, for example, I mean, I like the question about new media, old media, because in this day and age, brands we have to be careful that we're not dragged into this new media, trigger happy or finger happy, everybody's just clicking, sending. You don't know whether the information you're sending is right or not, you're just posting. You always have to be careful, because this is your image you're putting out there. And if you put out an image and at the end of the day it comes out that what you're saying is not correct, the whole brand looks like what you've been putting out is a lie. So you always have to be careful.
Okay, so first of all, I want you to comment on the new media conference. What do you think about the idea?
I think it's excellent, actually, because it tries to bring both the old media and the new media to the same space and inform we that are in the new media anyway, well, I can't say we, but guys in the new media, on how they can maximize the platform that the old media has set up to push themselves out into the new media, but doing so carefully so that they don't disturb the balance. So it's to be honest, I learned a lot, even though I came here as a panelist, but I actually learned a lot about other brands, other people's businesses, and what they particularly care about. So, I mean, I would encourage anyone else that hasn't attended a conference to do so in future.
Larry wanted to contribute.
I wanted to talk about the new media
traditional media divide, because that's come out. There's a study again that came out a couple of days ago in East Africa. In Kenya, for instance, only 33% consume social media every day. Comparatively, 94% consume some sort of traditional media, newspaper, radio, TV. But I put this up on my social media, but it looks like everybody around you is on Twitter. They're all talking about this hashtag, this is trending right now. But it's a bubble, right? Because likely your friends are more like you. You went to the same school, you go to the same church, you have the same interests, you belong to a club, etc. So you have a certain level of privilege, you have a certain level of education and exposure, and that feels to you like the rest of the country. In fact, that a third of the population is kind of an African average. In lots of countries, I don't know specific Nigerian numbers, but if you consider how many rural communities exist, they're not worried about what's trending on social media right now. They don't know, they don't care. They have different issues. But because all of you who live in the city are all talking about the same thing, and you're all congregating around a specific topic, it feels like the whole country is talking about it. And so people say, no, social media is going to replace traditional media.
I think African youth need to stop idolizing celebrities. African youth need to stop idolizing socialites. African youth need to stop idolizing people whose sources of income are questionable. We need to idolize the business women. We need to idolize the inventors. We need to idolize the people who are changing how we live and work and communicate. We need to idolize the icons of society who are pushing the envelope, not the people who are famous for being famous, because that is problematic. So I think if you follow people only because you want to see what the drama is, you want to see what the gossip is, or you want to see how wonderful and glamorous their lifestyle is, you're wasting your time on social media. Because while we're there, some people are building companies. Like I mentioned, Nas Daily is this young man who quit his job to post 1-minute videos every day from all over the world, and he's got about 2 million followers on Facebook. He's building a company for people to discover video better. Why don't we have African stories like that? I would love to see more of those stories.
Okay, I am Cynthia. I'm the manager of Rat Entertainment Concept, owned by Rat on Wazobia FM. Now, I want to ask, sir, you were talking about something about content on African Magic. I want to find out if one has content that wants to submit to African Magic and hasn't been on the internet before. Would it be accepted?
If we accept content that has not been put on the internet, previous exposure is not a reason for acceptance. Isabella will attest. We have an open door policy. If you've got content that's appealing, fits the standard, and we believe an audience has an audience on any one of the channels, it's 8 channels or 7 now, we will look at it, verify, make sure it meets certain QC standards, quality control standards, and we're sure that people will watch. We will, consider it and acquire it. That said, these days things are changing. So depending on the type of content you have, for instance, Funke Akindele's Jennifer, a lot of what you see on air is sort of advertising premise, on her social media platforms and other things. Whilst that's not a major reason, it does give you an advantage if what you're doing has some sort of social media or online background or support. We will consider it, and then it just makes your content that much more appealing. So I think that answers it.
My question is, when you create content digitally, you have to track how your content is doing. You have to analyze the progress, how people are interacting with this content, and that is very, very easy through digital platforms. But what I want to know is, how do you know how people are responding to your content on the traditional media such as TV and radio? How do you know what is working and how do you know what is not working? I don't know if I might sound ignorant, but I just don't know, and I would like to know.
But obviously it's privileged company information and I can't tell you. But yes, we know how content performs. We have an idea of the people watching, time slots and other things, but it's information that I can't give right now.
The question I would like to ask is to Larry. I want to ask how were we able to actually take the time in between virality and trending, in news being viral and it being like what will bounce on social media is viral news, what shared. Then how do we give a content that is not necessarily viral but is trending that people have to discuss over time or make reference to, in between the new media and the old media. And the last is on the counter narrative. How do you give a good counter narrative to what you have on social media that is the false news? You all know this. You have Nairobi debate, gubernatorial debate that is ongoing by Mugunu accusing everybody. You know, it actually was trending in Nigeria because we are seeing a new trend to an independent candidate can actually come out and divulge every other details about these people. So counter narrative, how do you establish counter narrative on the new media and the old media? I think that's also important.
With regards to the newspaper question, where they got it from an undisclosed source, it's pretty much the same rule applies. You have to take responsibility for what you put out there. And one of the key things that will be taken to court is whether or not it was published. Did any third party have the opportunity to witness it? Now, when a newspaper puts it in the paper and send it out there, pretty much an uncontrolled amount of people have seen it. And so they have to take responsibility for the news that they put there. Like I said earlier, as a brand, whatever that brand may be, even if it's the newspaper as a brand, if you're putting out information, you are literally putting your integrity on the line, saying this is the information that I'm putting out there because this is what I believe to be true. Now, whether you got it from an undisclosed source or not, you have that responsibility to verify that information, whether it's true or not. If you can't trust the information, then you shouldn't be putting it out there. But if you can trust it and you're willing to put your name behind it, then go ahead and put it out there. And if you're sued, you defend yourself. Ways to protect your idea, free of charge. I mean, the easiest advice I can, the only advice I can think of giving you right now is just do it. You know, is just do it. Like, I don't want to say, oh, just go and read it. No, just do it in the sense that there's some, for example, copyright. If you're creating something, you have an automatic protection. So just do it in the sense that it depends on what it is that you want to do. So, for example, if you want to, if you have an idea to make a painting or to release an album, just do it. Don't wait and be asking yourself questions like, okay, if I do it, will anybody? No, don't bother with all that. Just do it. Do what you have to do. Okay? Then, and there's nothing free in life. I mean, why are you trying to rob us? I'm a lawyer. You pay for it. Give it to me.
The New Media Conference is a very, very important part of today's media ecosystem because whether we want to accept it or not, more and more Nigerians are utilizing new media in its various capacities, whether for content delivery, whether for reading their daily news, whether for interacting with clients and so on. So putting together a conference like this where you bring in practitioners and stakeholders and share opinions, share perspective, discuss trends, it's very important and it highlights where new media is going in Nigeria. I would really like to celebrate Tosin Ajibade for this OLORISUPERGAL because when she started it, I'm sure a few people thought, okay, what is she doing? But every year that the conference comes together, we are reminded of how relevant it is, especially because the topics keep evolving to keep track with trends in new media. And that's what we really need. And it's been such an exciting conference so far. There's been lots of disruptive conversation, disruptive in the sense that we're not talking about the regular stuff. People are saying unusual things, mindsets are being challenged, we're predicting trends. It's really interesting and I already cannot wait to see what next year has to bring.
We are currently at the 3rd edition here in Lagos and so far it has been a great day. Yes, I said it has been a great day because we've had 4 sessions already and the 5th session is currently holding. And while we're holding this event, basically it's to create impacts in the new media industry. I've been in this industry for 9 years and this is one of the things that we've created from our brand OLORISUPERGAL, to give back to people, and yeah, I mean the first year was great, the second year was awesome, this was the 3rd edition, which is currently holding, is better. Okay, the 3rd edition is actually better and so far a lot has been shared. We've covered different topics from travel and tourism to creative, intellectual property to law, which is very, very important in this our business. This IP, stealing online, taking pictures, and all of that, which is very, very key, and so far some of the participants actually walked up to me and told me, oh, they've actually learned a lot and all of that, which is fine. We want people to learn, and we also want them to apply these things because it is very, 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 very important, So I want to say thank you to Goldmyne for, covering this event. Thank you so much, guys. You guys got my back, and I don't know what to say. Thank you to Mr. Shosorify. Thank you all. Why am I doing this? Thank you so much. Am I supposed to end it now? No. But I just want to say thank you. Yeah. Eshe, giddy go.